What's up, everybody? I'm back after a series of unfortunate events, the first of which was I had COVID, and that laid me off for a couple of weeks, made it really difficult to do any sort of recording since my throat was a mess. And then I started feeling really good. I was back to work and I was training physically again, and I got a concussion playing soccer. So I missed a couple days of work. I ended up having to rest a lot. And even now, if I spend too much time on my computer screen, prepping videos, doing what I'm doing, I actually start to get headaches. So I'm still very much kind of taking it easy, and that's been why, you know, there's been less content on this channel lately. But I'm feeling a lot better today. I'm feeling really good and healthy, so I wanted to make some videos, or in this case, one video for this channel, one video for my main channel. So let's talk about my progress on my new Cities of Sigmar army box, because the one upside of having a concussion, I mean, it's not true, there's no upsides, is that I had to stay off screens, and so I built a lot of Warhammer. At the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about what other types of videos I'll make on this channel, so if you want to have some input on that, then stick around till the end. Okay, so I ended up building my entire box over the course of a week, which is much faster than I was planning on. I wanted to spread it out and enjoy it, but I did very much enjoy it nonetheless. So I really enjoyed building this one, more so than I did the Lumineth, and that's not to pick on the Lumineth. I just felt that these new sculpts were better organized. I think they're certainly less finicky than the elves were, and that's great. That was good to see. I enjoyed that. Way less small breakable parts or hard things to attach on, although, you know, there's always a few here and there. So I started with my Freeguild Marshall and his Relic Envoy, and I wanted to do the dual pistol build, and you know, I just saw all these cool swords and shields resting on them. Looked amazing. So what I ended up doing was I have one pistol, he's holding it up, and then he's resting on his sword. It looks super cool. It's the rule of cool. And then in game, I'm going to be using the dual pistol rules version. Hopefully nobody takes issue with that, but I love him. I love that he comes with the Relic Envoy, who's not technically a model, but you know, he's a little messenger that you either keep with the Marshal or you send him to your units, and he helps you out in game. It's very, very cool. He's got this head in his staff, like on the box on top of his staff. Apparently that is often the remains of like a famous or storied family member, because it is honoring them and bringing luck to you on the battlefield, which is a pretty insane tradition if you ask me, but it's also a pretty cool one. Next, I built the Alchemite Warforger, who was pretty simple to build. There was a few choices for him, but otherwise he's a very cool looking unit, and apparently from what I'm reading in game, his abilities are quite solid. So pumped to play with him, excited to paint him. He's just a cool looking unit. Definitely would recommend picking up one of those. Then I was moving on to the Freeguild Steelhelms, and there's 20 of these ones, right? So these were a lot of fun to build. Now, if I'm honest with you, these are the most fun that I had in the entire box, which might surprise you. But anyway, the Battle Priest, the Champions, those are pretty straightforward. There's a couple of choices with them, but once you build those 4 units, because there's 2 for, you know, like a champion for each unit, and then a battle priest for each unit, then you have 16 Steelhelms to build. And the way that you're going to build those is just put the torso and the legs together, because there are specific matchups for those. And then after that, the heads, the arms, the shields, the weapons are all interchangeable. You can build them however you want in the poses that you want. And that was very, very cool. So I had a good time doing that. I didn't realize how small these guys were. So they're actually on 25mm bases, which is something that I missed in my unboxing. But this is because they are the common people of the realms. They're not some sort of demonic warrior or, you know, hero stormcast, big bulky buff dude. Instead, they're your regular run-of-the-mill citizen, and they're a little bit smaller to represent that, which again, very, very cool lore-wise to see that represented in the physical model that we have. All right, the last thing that I built that was a bit intimidating for me were the Freeguild Cavalry. These are the big boys. These ones are much bigger than anything else in the box, and this is my first time building a mounted model, and it was fun. I built them all together at once. They're completely together and finished, which I might regret later when I'm painting them. But for now, I just really wanted to put them together to see what they looked like. Like, for example, I have my Lumineth Dawn Riders that I have to build still. Those ones I've already looked up online what I should build them. You know, maybe I think it's the top half, like leave the shield off, build the top half, the bottom half, don't put them together until you actually paint them. That's what I'll do with those guys. But with these Freeguild Cavalry, I just wanted to put them together. They look awesome. So I hope you enjoy checking out with those. Anyway, so these guys, they have a bunch of different stances, and you can kind of pick which horse has which stance. You know, you put together the champion and the flag bearer pretty specifically, but then you can choose exactly what kind of weapons and heads and everything go on all the other riders. And that was really fun to do as well. So highly recommend these guys. I think they're one of the coolest units in the entire battletome, which is, you know, pretty high praise. So I'm both excited and nervous to be painting these later, but you know, we'll get to that in a bit. And now, because my channel is very new, I need to do a quick call to action. So if you are brand new to this channel, if you are enjoying the video so far, you made it halfway through, then consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It's going to help me get started and reach more people, and I very much appreciate it. You might have noticed that I haven't based any of the models yet for this box, and I wanted to experiment with some actually bases first. So those of you that are learning Warhammer just like me, actually is the realm of fire, and so I wanted to go with kind of like a reddish earth. I tried something out. I don't love it, like so much so that I'm not going to put it in the video. But however, since then, I have discovered that the Mordant Earth technical paint exists from Citadel, and basically it cracks to make a cracked earth effect. And they have a tutorial on how to make lava bases with it. And I'm sold. I'm going to be making those for all my guys. They're all going to be on cool cracked earth lava bases. I just need to find the paints because they're not in stock at my local game store, but I'll go check out a few other ones in my city before I try to like order them online. I see that there's not really alternatives online for like technical paints, so you know, I'll just see what I can do. So otherwise, I wanted to put my guys on their bases, but it's so much harder to base after you've attached a unit to it, and then maybe, you know, the base height grows, and then that puts the units or the models foot under the earth. I didn't want to mess with any of that, so I want to base them and then put the guys on, and then hopefully I don't make any mistakes with the painting where I get it onto the base. But you know, I'll think about that before I actually attach anybody. You know, making models look cool is super fun in this hobby, but I mean, I wish it wasn't so complicated sometimes, because you'd love to just stick these guys on and then take them and play on the table, but that's not quite where I'm at just yet. So finally, I want to talk about the color scheme, and you've likely guessed it by now, but I'm going to be going with Hammerhal Akshi because I just love the color scheme and I love the city so far. There's a big healthy chunk of lore on Akshi in the battletome, which I have right beside me. I've already read through the whole thing before I go to bed each night. I'm going to read through it again, and we'll talk more about that in a sec here. But basically, I love everything that I've read about the realm so far, and Talia Vedra is a very cool hero, and I can't wait till she is officially released and I get to build her. That's going to be super fun. And if you haven't seen the Hammerhal Akshi theme yet, it's basically red shields and cloth and then iron armor, and I'll put some pictures of that up while I'm talking about it. It's going to be a nice change up from the green and gold of my Lumineth. And now that I'm thinking about it, green and gold are actually the colors of the school that I teach at. So was I incepted when I painted my Lumineth? Either way, I like the way those turned out as well, so no complaints here. But I hope to share more information on this city, the Hammerhal dual, you know, twin-tailed city, whatever it's called. I'll look that up. About the city when I have more time to make more videos, but more on that in just a minute here. So that's my progress on my box so far. I'm really happy with how everything's turned out. I think it's all looking pretty sweet with the primer on now. And I didn't use the Citadel primer this time. Instead, I bought Rust-Oleum primer. It costs way less and it actually applies way smoother. Like honestly, it was easier to apply than the Grey Seer primer from Citadel themselves. So I'm just not going to bother buying the Citadel sprays anymore. I'll just buy the Rust-Oleum when I need one. I looked it up online. Doesn't seem like that's a problem for anybody else as well. But looking forward on the channel, what am I going to be doing here? What am I going to make? What kind of content? So I'd like to take some info next text from the Cities of Sigmar battletome and make some videos with it. So specifically lore videos on the different cities that are featured in there, maybe a summary video of all of them, and maybe deeper dives into the ones that have more information. I'd like to make a video on Talia Vedra because she's so damn cool. But also maybe some background information on the models and that they talk about in the books, because some of them they go into some pretty big detail. And if you want to see that type of content, let me know. It's gonna be my first time making lore content, but you know, I'll take my time, make sure I do it right. I'm also thinking about possible D&D content for this channel. So maybe sharing a one-shot that I made and going through it, and then sharing the PDF with everybody, or maybe talking about the tabletop club that I started at my school. I'd also like to talk about, you know, a news video about the Final Fantasy XIV tabletop RPG. It's not coming out for a while, but maybe I'd eventually review it on this channel. But I could just kind of share my thoughts on it as a whole, if that's what people would be interested in. The one thing I'm kind of worried about is that I'm going to confuse YouTube on what this channel is actually about. But if I stick with it and hit it consistently, it will learn, and hopefully that leads to consistent, you know, sharing with the people that actually want to watch my content. But otherwise, that's it for this update. I appreciate you stopping by to listen to it, and I will see you all in the next one.